To kick off, we have two creative minds that don't work in the same way, and I think that's really fascinating. So some of you might know one of them, but not both. So what we're going to do is we're going to invite each of them to say 5 minutes about their work. So Angeles, over to you.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me here, Miami Design District, one more time. I love you. And this is an honoring moment to be with Pepe, and I adore him. So, Angeles. Angeles is, oh my God. Angeles is an artist. Angeles is a creator. Angeles is LA. Angeles is A. Angeles is a dreamer. She wanted to be an artist. She wanted to be a dancer. She wanted to be a performer. And she did it. She studied art. She has a mention and a specialty in paint. She studied dance, from ballet, contemporary, tango, flamenco, folklore, and many other ones. She's passionate about fashion and creativity. And she traveled around the world. And she came to Miami for an adventure to pursue a career as a dancer. And she did it. Again. Angeles one day met two gentlemen in the right moment, at the right place, and some doors and some windows, they're open for her at the right moment, at the right time again, in the fashion industry. So Angeles started to moving around, covering shows in New York Fashion Week with her camera. She met fantastic people, intellectual, artists, designers, famous people. And she got the opportunity to work with Zach Posen as the only one house photographer in backstage. A huge opportunity for her. And she did once? No, she did many times. So I think that she did a good job. Also, she found a business, accessory fashion brand. Huge pieces, fashionable statement pieces that people they used to stop her on the street to ask to her, what is that? What are you wearing? People that they were taking the photo of her. And but everything was good, but of course, life is not easy at all. And struggles came. Sadness, depression, trouble with love, and the big C appeared, breast cancer. But Angeles decided to, come on, I can do something with this bad moment, you know? So why not to do something with this? And creativity came, project came, opportunities, interviews even. Selfless came. It's a project, and it's about photography, about women that Angeles admire. They are women that they have voices, they're survivors. And she's working with local photographers. And the phase 1 of this project is already done. And there is another phase 2 and another phase 3. And I hope it's coming soon. She hopes.
I'm originally from Mexico, but I've been living in Miami for 20 years. I work in assemblage, collage, objects. I have influence from fashion, from queer, forgotten, kind of like cult figures that I have gotten inspired from the history of Miami Beach. Like in recent years, I decided that my work, I wanted to showcase it in these installations that basically house all of these works, and they're always kind of like inspired by somebody like in recent years. I did a project if you can change the slide to this one. I was inspired by this drag performer that
Fabulous.
actually Craig Robbins collected his work during his lifetime, and she lived in Española Way. And actually, in one of my scavenger hunts that I do for fashion and for art and for objects and for all these things, I found the paintings of her in a thrift store, him, and I kind of was mesmerized by this find that I decided that I wanted to give her like a big kind of like homage, like this big exhibition. So I decided that I wanted to do like a two-person exhibition with her. And I said, well, why cannot be like Art Basel Miami Beach? Because Barla was like very extravagant. I think it would be a character like Angeles or somebody like that, who was
Wow.
like
I need more hair.
and she and she was very like fabulous. I mean, everybody who met Barla was very fabulous. So I decided to do this two-person exhibition with her, my work and her work, and being in dialogue. And then I had all these friends that actually met Barla, and they gave me all this amazing memorabilia from her. This is an exhibition that I did at Locust Project here. Thank you, Lori. And this was like an amazing show because I had such a small space, and I said, you know what, I want to like fill the space as much as I can with like head to toe, transform the space. When I got there, the space was like really raw, and I said, oh my God, like we have to change this because this is not fabulous. We have to like totally transform this. like I kind of like took this kind of like I created a set to put my work in, and queering the space, transforming the space, softening the space. The space was like such like a rough kind of space, but it was pretty great because I just went overboard. And I loved it because it was such a small space, but it really
Look huge.
exactly
Let me tell you.
in
With a lot
pictures.
of things, but super
Exactly,
interesting.
you can change the slide. And this is my latest project that is up right now, and actually I'm very excited because it was just reopened at the Mattress Factory Museum in Pittsburgh. Again, inspired by a queer persona. I visited the Mattress Factory Museum, and in the room next to me, there's a very iconic installation by Greer Larkin, who's been there for almost like 20 years. And when I visited the museum, I was aware of this installation, and I was aware that it existed in the space. And then when they offered me to be right next to her, I was really fascinated by her life. And also, I wanted to do a show in response to her. So she makes all these dolls and all of these kind of like body transformation, and I just like took over the half of the floor next to Greer. So this show is up right now, and has some similar works that are here, like the assemblage and some of these fabric walls. Also, the founder of this museum is like she was a collector of all of these objects, and I kind of like really was inspired by her Wunderkammer that was on the 6th floor. This is like an older exhibition than all of the other ones, where this was done at David Castillo Gallery. I think here was the beginning of the assemblage, where they made the transition from this kind of work, where it's like the collage works, into the more like object-based works. This exhibition we title Origin because we have this piece that is like from 10 years ago, and then we have all these new works. So kind of like giving context to all these new pieces, kind of like having something from the past to kind of like give like an idea of how all these new pieces came to be.
Thank you so much. So is your work is it an autobio, or how do you see your work expressing yourself or a sense of self? Or do you feel like it's a completely third separate thing from you? Because I notice you refer to yourself in the third. Can you talk about that a little bit?
This is part of my styling work that I did for years here in Miami local. This one was absolutely, in my opinion, gorgeous. and creative at the same time, using different, methods. And about your question, references in creativity and process. It's always in my work and in the styling or in the creative as a painter or even as a photographer. I'm thinking before a little bit about the box, about where I'm gonna be. Okay, I'm gonna be in a photography studio with models, then they're absolutely fabulous. I'm gonna be in a backstage, like all of those photos are from me, and I wanted to know the environment. I wanted to know what is happening around me. What is my position as a photographer? Because when I work with some designers, they say to me, "You are a shadow. So you cannot make noise. You are transparent, completely invisible. You have to follow the designer. You have to do and that." And at the same time, they say to you, "Hey, you have to make magic with your camera." So the next day, the photos, they are going to be in a magazine. If you're doing a bad job, it's not going to be there, So it's a process, and I wanted to know a little bit my environment. I wanted to know who is with me.
So you've both been the photographer and in front of the lens as well. So you play both these roles very fluidly.
Yes, you see in the first, or in the, I don't know, in the first one, in the first photo, this is me now during pandemic. And I had to tell you, the first month in March, when they say to me, "You cannot go out, you cannot do this, you cannot do that," I was really depressed. I was really, really sad. I couldn't be being productive at all. Not with my work also, because I'm working in a museum for many, many years. And I have to do my work from home. And I couldn't do it because I need people. I'm working in the visitor service and doing deposits. So there is no money, there is no people. So how am I going to do my job? So I need to back to my roots. And I create this wall. This is my living room. Then I live in a closet, like this, tiny, tiny, tiny. And I create this like a catharsis for me, like I stay home. Angeles, stay home, stay home, stay home. Do your job, And but I said, okay, but I love fashion, I love creativity, and I said, why not to play with my closet? So one day, I have a movie. I was still there, and I said, okay. I took a Sharpie, stay home. After stay, home. It took me like 3-4 days. When I finished all the papers, I said, okay, Angeles, now, next job, next step, put all the papers in the wall. Then this is a shelf full of books, and in the middle is the TV. So I covered the TV, I covered everything for almost 2.5 months, 3 months. And one day I decided, okay, now is the moment to put it away. And I did a video, and I did so many photos, to talk about freedom, about communication, about please let me be out of this. Where is the exit to be out of this pandemic? Of course, there is no exit, not yet, and maybe not soon. But it was all of those references, and also to put my closet in a funny way and to be creative. And this is me. The code, as you see, part of the code is the same code that I'm wearing in the last little photo. Then that one was New York Fashion Week. The New York Times took my photo and came on Instagram. And the other thing is it's vintage. The papers, I did the papers because that photo I put in on Monday for the Met Gala. Then no Met Gala at the Metropolitan. Vogue cancel everything. But I said, okay, but we can do a reference I can be in my own gala alone, So it was a fun, and I have that reference from Alexander McQueen, and everything is in my home. So literally, I'm living in a closet. Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
So this has also been a home for you. I mean, this is your summer studio for the past few months, and you've been creating new works that are based on a number of, works are from your past, but you've also been able to create new work. Do you want to talk a little bit about the new work?
I think during the quarantine, I watched a lot of TV with my partner, and then eventually I gave up and I said, I have to go to the garage and I have to work because this has already been like a couple of months, and then I was working in the garage, and then I was like I started working on this piece called The Sitter, and then I told my partner, and I said, can you take a picture of me while I work on this? And then I went over to my bedroom and I put on a pajama. I mean, I've been like a slob the whole quarantine. I wasn't like, I wasn't thinking about wearing any clothes for as much as I love them and for all the stuff that I have. And I wore the pajama and I came to the garage and I posed making the work. I mean, it was really hot. It wasn't glamorous at all. But I kind of was like, let me make it glamorous. And I think that's the picture that you saw, that I was kind of like working, and I put up this image that was kind of like, talking about fashion, talking about making work and all that stuff. And and that's when you invited me to come here.
He looked fantastic.
But it wasn't in real life. That's the magic of Instagram. So I think I'm an artist, but I'm very obsessed about fashion. I mean, it amuses me, and that's kind of like the reason why I do it. I kind of collect clothes, from designer clothes to thrift store clothes to secondhand to anything. I think when I go looking for art materials, I first look for parts from my work, but then I give up when I don't find anything and I start looking at clothes for me. So there's like that whole overlap of things where, and then in recent years, I've been doing more direct reference to fashion in my work. So I've been actually using some of my old clothes to actually use them in some of the pieces. So I mean, for me, it's I like all this fashion, but I like to take it kind of like a little bit with like a touch of irony, like it's funny. Like I don't take it as seriously as maybe some people would think. There's always like a sense of how we put things together. I think that's one of the reasons I am very attracted to Angela's approach, because she puts things together kind of like an assemblage, like a bricolage, where she takes all these different things that not necessarily go, things from different eras, things from high and low. It could be something very expensive, but also something very and mix it all together. And that's something that amuses me, and that I think that's one of the reasons that I gravitated towards Angeles over the years.
Well, we met here in Miami Design District at Fendi.
Of course.
So there is always fashion.
Where else?
There is always fashion, bubbles, and good moments here around in this neighborhood.
Exactly.
Always. Good people.
Exactly.
Always. You're also curating an exhibition. Do you want to share a little bit about the show that you're curating? Because I know that you're wearing a different hat. It's a different creative field.
I got my MFA at FIU, and recently they invited me to do a show to use the permanent collection. Again, when I went to the museum, I decided that I wanted to make it very glamorous, that I wanted to cover all the walls. So I kind of I'm creating a fabric design from one of my collages. So I'm gonna cover walls. I'm gonna paint a lot of walls, and I'm gonna use loans from local collectors, but I'm also using some part of the permanent collection. I'm also playing with the collection the same way that I get dressed up. I think for me, it's like one of the most exciting things, getting dressed. I think it's like there's like an excitement. I think sometimes you get to the place and you're like, it's anticlimactic. It's like like you put on all these clothes and then you're like, it's amazing, and like let's put this up and change it up, and and then you get there and then you're like, okay, it was more fun to put on all these clothes.
Yes.
And getting prepared to go out.
Let's talk about this whole thing of fun, because you guys are having a lot of fun in your work, but this is the strangest time, I think we can all admit. This is the strangest time we've been through, and there's obviously a lot going on. What's it like to make work that's exuberant and fun and upbeat in a time like this? And is that hard? And do you see it as things that work?
I mean, I think I think it's like, I think, for example, sometimes like I don't feel amazing, but sometimes I put something fun and then other people react to it in a positive way. So I think that kind of like maybe I wasn't even
provides you fuel.
Exactly, that's not the way I felt, but other people kind of like reacted to it, and that's kind of like that's positive, to kind of like have people coming to you and kind of like having that kind of reaction to it. I think it's very easy to kind of like say like, oh, I'm depressed, I'm not gonna dress up, I'm like gonna just be like wearing a t-shirt and jeans and like just kind of like, I think it kind of requires a little bit of extra work to put on all these clothes and have fun with it, and project that kind of like positivity, especially right now at these times.
And you've also been part of an event every year that raises money for the cause. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Because I find
Yes,
that
of
amazing
course.
that you've really...
So the photos in pink, they're the photos for the event last year, and the photo that is on top is part of the selfless photography project. Then phase one, we did a film. I connect all of these women, 30 in total, and different backgrounds, different ages, not all of them in fashion, not all of them in art, some survivors, some not. People like I really admire, and they have been in my process, in my life. I hope there is going to be an exhibition for all the photos, not just the film, an exhibition with the photos, an auction with the photos, a book.
Beautiful. Wow.
And everything that we can get, the money, is going for a good organization, because this is the only way that we can end with this bad disease.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. It's a really incredible cause.
Okay.
We're also at a very strange time, in terms of race. You are both Latino, Latina. Can you talk about what that's like right now for you working in Miami? I know you've both been in Miami a long time. How does it resonate for you?
I mean, I think Miami kind of like, it's like you're in a different bubble, especially after living here for 20 years, like you said. I think you kind of like forget, a little bit what's going on, and but it's like a great place to, where you don't, I mean, now I think from all the things that are happening, you kind of like, you think about it, but I think here in Miami, you don't really experience those kind of things, being Latino, because it's like the predominant, kind of like situation. I mean, I don't know what Angeles feels like working in fashion.
What was it like for you,
Well,
especially working in the
got-
fashion field? I mean,
It's
I would imagine.
that's another thing. Well, when I was living in Spain, when I was studying flamenco, I got like a really, really bad story with a Spanish guy who said to me, "Where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I'm born in Chile, but my mom is Spanish, my father is Chilean. I have been studying different part of the countries, in England, in Switzerland, back to Spain, back to Chile, and like that." And he was like, "And you're from Chile? And in Chile speaking Spanish?" And I was like, "Yes, but you don't look like a Chilean." And I said like, "Okay, how Chileans look?" I said to him like, "What is your point? This is long time ago. This is in 1997 or 96. And he was very rude. Like Latin people, they were like a really no educated, no maybe good looking, or maybe they can talk as well as you, Castellano, Spanish, with an Spanish guy." So it was quite surprised. I was in England, and in England, people, they treated me really well, nothing to say. But I saw people like they really were very racist with one of my co-students at that time. Here in Miami, when I came, I have to say, very positive. Miami was very welcoming. I think so. It's very versatile. There is so many different, it's very international, so many different people from different from different countries. So sometimes it's difficult to see that races here. It's a really difficult time right now in the whole world, and here in United States, come on. But I think so. The good thing like we need to learn right now is more love, respect each other, definitely being more kind, and be there when you have a friend, and sometimes be silent, quiet, and just listen.
So I think something I admire about you both is that you've been making work for a long time, and you have a deep sense of self.
I feel also that you merge creative fields in such a beautiful way. You really do feel, I think you both experiment a lot. If you could mention, kind of as my last thing to ask you, how has this experience changed your work? Or evolved your work or informed your work?
Oh, the dog, like meeting each other.
Or has it actually informed your work itself? Like, has this changed the way in which you work, how you see your work, how you invest in your work, how you produce your creative process, how you see creative fields? I mean, I think we're in an unprecedented time where fashion means a new thing to us, where art means a new thing to us.
I mean, I think when you like dedicated such much of your life to it, it's part of like your everyday. I think that you kind of like do it so intuitively. I mean, of course, that is like there's always like these obstacles of this, like these times that we're living. But I think something that I mentioned to you when we were setting up this exhibition, I think it was like kind of like right after quarantine, and it was like something like, I mean, think when you're really into it, like so deep, I think that you kind of like you have you have that strength to kind of like keep going.
You just need to keep on doing what you do.
Exactly. And I think that at the beginning of this exhibition, when it opened, it was like we had like very few visitors, and little by little now people are starting to come, and I think now I'm like, oh my God, that's so great that we pushed and that we did that.
Exactly.
Even if I maybe wasn't feeling like the best in the best disposition or whatever, but I think that I kind of took that opportunity and I kind of like engaged in it, and I kind of like put it together even in the middle of all this. And I think now it feels good. I mean, especially now with all these different things happening, and having Angela's here, and like all these different things that have been going on with the exhibition, I think that it's been definitely worth it to push and to keep going. I think because I think even today, like seeing so many familiar faces and so many friends and people kind of like here, I mean, I think it's gonna like give me that stamina to kind of like kind of like keep working and stuff.
Yeah. I think so. As Pepe said, opportunities. Sometimes you receive opportunities in the worst moments ever. But destiny is like that. Universe is like that. We cannot control anything. And as I said before, like in bad moments, sometimes we have to embrace something else. Maybe your creative work, your poetry, your literature, whatever you are doing in life, yourself. Exactly what you're wearing. In my case, sometimes, and I embraced with my breast cancer, and also during pandemic, I got really depressed. In one moment, I was really in a black hole again, and I got the same anguish that I got years ago when they diagnosed me. They say to me, "Hey, Angeles, you have this," and I said, "Okay, I need to switch. Here, mine. You have to wake up. You have to do something. You have to be positive. You have to be creative. Whatever you're doing, do it. Even though it's good, it's bad. Maybe it's not the best. It's not the best process. Also, it's not perfect at all. But there is something. There is something that you're doing." And if you keep going with that process, maybe in the end, you create something. You create really something that is communicate and inspire others. Like what I did with my living room, and literally I was sorry, temporary closed. And that one was the first one because I didn't want to see anyone. I was alone, I was sad, and it was perfectly and temporarily closed until I don't know when, maybe today. Today I'm not close anymore, and open again, and we're doing things, and we can communicate with these beautiful tools that is creativity, it's originality, it's genuine. Pepe, with all of this work, like to be here in this neighborhood with a great opportunity, I think so. You did absolutely fabulous. I wish you can stay here forever and ever. But sometimes good things came in small boxes and for not too many time. But
I was talking to somebody about this. Somebody was talking to me about maybe like people have like decided to wait to do something after the pandemic, and I think I was talking to her, and she was telling me like, sometimes you just have to take an opportunity and kind of like do something,
And
like
develop it and make it.
exactly because
Yeah.
you don't know or what a million things could happen, and it's almost interesting to kind of like keep kind of like working and
Absolutely.
yeah, especially.
On that very uplifting note, I feel like we do need to carry on. Does anybody have any questions?
anything.
No, it's such a great group. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, there
Oh,
we
you
go.
have a question. Love. Bravo.
Thank you, Alfred.
It's for both of you, but maybe Pepe can get started. I'm curious if you can share about your process. Are these improvised? Do you start with a color palette? How do they, what is the life cycle of this work?
I think it started with chopping.
A lot of them. Many of them. many of them.
Yes, similar to Angeles, where I kind of like when I say, "Oh, I'm gonna make like this specific piece," and then I start shopping for the piece. I like looking and the similar kind of excitement that looking for clothes or looking for things. It's always like this interesting and like going through sorting through things and stuff. I think that's basically the beginning of it, and kind of like collecting. I think recently I've been shopping online. I mean, talking about the pandemic, I think kind of like sometimes I'm using Etsy to buy things. And I'm kind of like, I mean, I would love to go to like a flea market, but I think I've been adapting to the times and using. I mean, the good thing is that I have a lot of stuff that that I collected at home or my studio, and I've been kind of like using some of the stuff I have, and it's a nice way to kind of like, okay, we have this, we have to use it, But yeah, that's basically the beginning. Another aspect of it is like I work with a carpenter, so I've been visiting my carpenter, kind of like with a masks and doing a little bit of that. So this is different processes that kind of like.
And this box is absolutely incredible. It actually looks like it has a light in it, so it's absolutely illuminated and
It's
gorgeous.
great.
And I
It's
also
great.
know that somebody did actually sell an artwork and go and buy a pair of shoes, but we won't mention who that is.
I know this dangerous has been extremely dangerous for me. This is like, this residency needs to end, Claire.
Be careful, be careful. Exactly. Keep it in the box, exactly.
Exactly, no, but it's been great.
About my process, as a styling, it's week before. We used to talk with my partner at that time, my good co-worker John, always to tell a story. It's not just to put a beautiful dress over a super thin model. No, we want something deeper than that. And also we want to deconstruct, like, it's a beautiful luxury coat. No, come on, we can play with that, more than that. And in my own process at home with my fashion accessories, or the way that I dress, or the way that I took my photos, there is always an inspiration by films, by music. There is always music at home, always. And sometimes I love to write right now, poetry. There's some little words that they came in my mind, and I say, okay, from this word I'm gonna go to this point, even it's in fashion, or maybe it's a piece of art, or maybe it's a fashion statement accessories that maybe you cannot wear just on a simple necklace because it's too big, but maybe you can do something cool with that. And sometimes complex, and sometimes super easy. It's the pen of the day.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you both here. Thank you for your
you.
time. Thank you for
No,
your honesty and for sharing
Thank you for
yourselves
having
with
us.
us.
This is amazing.
Thank you,
And
thank
thank
you.
Thank you all so much for coming.